So let's do a quick recap before I talk about tonight's final read. So we started with recouping, which was talking about the residue that we um, tend to collect over time and over experiences and over especially negative things that we don't even realize we've accumulated and we've built up. And before we get ready to change anything in our lives, we got to get rid of that because we don't want to take the residue into the new because we got to be renewed. So that was the first one. Did I say recoup, right? Okay, so regroup is the second one. And that's where we look in our in basket and see of all the things that we have in terms of our skill sets, in terms of schools of thought and patterns and tools that we have in our toolbox that we're equipped with, whether they were innate or acquired. We go through that and we say, what's some things that I need to take on this journey, and what are some things that I can leave or I can discard, or I need to kind of go through and like clean some stuff out, or whether that's dealing with people. Hey, I've been rolling with this crew for a while, but we're not really productive together, so I might need to weed out a few people. And even in your mindset, like there's some things I've been thinking, some patterns, some schools of thought that are really unproductive. So I need to discard those and then kind of keep some of the things that I've wanted to implement. I've just always either been afraid to, or I just never did put forth a great effort. So that's regroup, kind of regrouping how you're thinking, regrouping your skills, regrouping your strategy. Third thing was refocus. Was it? Yeah. No, it wasn't. Okay, recoup, regroup, refocus. Okay, I said five. Maybe it was four of them. Okay, maybe I lied. I keep saying five. No, I did. No, there is five. Sorry. I just have two on the same page. Pray for me while I look over my notes. Um, so we did regroup. Refresh. That was it. Refresh. So think of your recycle symbol, kind of the little circles with the arrows. Refresh. That's what we often need to do with our mental browser. Either we have too many folders open, trying to say that at the same time, folders open, or we are somehow disconnected from the vision that we see for our lives in terms of implementing that vision. And we need to disconnect from the things that are limiting us or hindering us, and we need to reconnect or refresh the mental browser on those connections that we need to keep. And we need to just kind of refresh how we're looking at it, refresh our view, refresh. Then we get into refocus. That's where I was trying to rush to. So that's what we did last week. We refocused. Often we are looking at things through a lens, and I put on a post not too long ago, are we looking through a lens of disappointment or fear or previous experience? Maybe we need to not only refocus but change the lens we're looking through, because oftentimes it can distort the images that we do see and cause us to make wrong choices in terms of how we're either trying to get there or you want to avoid it because it looks like too much work or what have you, whatever, depending on how you're looking at the situation. So we often need to review, reassess, how are we seeing it, or how are we envisioning it? Is it the reality, or is it what we've kind of created in our minds because of fear or doubt or whatever? So that brings us to the last and final read, which is probably, I'm not going to say it's the most important, but it is definitely kind of like if you don't do this, you really can't do the rest of them. And again, I've kind of hinted towards this in several talks previous and videos before this, but the final re is replenish. It is so I can't even tell you who used to sing that song. They so that was Floyd Tree. That song so important. I cannot emphasize it to you enough. To take care of yourself and replenish yourself. Replenish yourself. It is okay to be selfish when that's applied properly. I said when I first started shooting the vlog a long time ago, which was like 3 months ago, I made a statement on there about selflessness. And selflessness with the wrong application, I said, will leave you empty. And if you're empty, you're no good to anybody, much less yourself. So replenishing helps you to build on all the other reads that we spoke about. And I might have should have mentioned that first. I don't know. But most of the time in our list of priorities, especially if you're a caregiver, if you're a parent, if you, volunteer or do any kind of service throughout your community to anybody, family members, what have you, as a giver, you're constantly putting out. And if you don't have the same level of input, then you start to wear it down very easily, burn out, you're susceptible to very quickly. And it's just not a good look, to say it very simply. Part of everybody's using the term the glow up, and part of the glow up is realizing how much you need to absorb in order to glow. Glowing occurs when there has been an absorption of light, and there's not necessarily a reflection of light, but the light that has been absorbed on the inside of whatever that is, that chemical that causes stuff to glow or whatever, that paint, it absorbs it and then it re-releases it. So, if we want to glow up, we really have to have light. We have to have a source of energy to draw from in order to have our own source of light that emits from us. So just kind of keep that in mind, that little analogy. So definitely this year, we're still in only the first 2 weeks of the year. It is not too late to make yourself a priority. Not too late to make yourself a priority. And it is okay to make yourself a priority, a top priority. I have 3 things here. Conserve your energy, conserve your resources, conserve your sanity. Really, you are in charge of the energy you choose to give out. That's up to you. Again, people may provoke you to feel a certain way about something. They may, try to instigate you to get involved in certain things. But at the end of the day, it is up to you to decide if you want to co-sign and sign your energy on the dotted line, or sign your well-being, your peace of mind on the side of on the dotted line. And again, a lot of the things that you will find yourself sowing into emotionally aren't worth it. You're not going to harvest anything but a headache and maybe a few sleepless nights and the burden of overthinking about something or somebody that's not even thinking about you at all. So why would you give your energy away? Why would you give your power away? You need that to go on to bigger and better things. So let's hold on to that when we're thinking about replenishment. Put it back. When you're thinking of, it's just like seeing something on the shelf. It's like, man, I really want to buy that, but your money could be best used elsewhere, or you're trying to maintain a budget and you've already challenged yourself. Man, I really don't need to do any spending, blah, 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 blah. Think about that in terms of your energy. Think about that in terms of conserving your best self. Because we can't even work on ourselves if we don't have the energy to. So many people talk about how tired they are, and oh my gosh, I'm just like, and you're tired not only physically, but from just the weight of mental and emotional, psychological, all kinds of things that are going on that if you haven't recouped well, that means got rid of all that background stuff, you'll have a hard time with replenishment because you won't even have room. And that's another thing when it comes to replenishing. We need to make room for we need to make room in our mindset for it. Now, we might be physically drained, but mentally we're filled to capacity because we have all this stuff on our minds that we need to get rid of. It's just taking up space. I think we touched on that with refresh, I believe. Excuse me. Ooh, okay. Let's see. It says, stop yielding to the temptation of yielding yourself and availing yourself to each and every need you're exposed to. I'm going to read that one more time. It says, stop yielding to the temptation of yielding yourself and availing yourself to each and every need you are exposed to. This is like self-preservation 101. There are some needs that are very simple that you may be able to meet, and that's it. You meet it in that moment. It's not a long-term commitment. But every need that you may see may not be your responsibility to fill. That's not me saying, oh my gosh, just ignore people's pain and stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But a lot of the times, you're like 2 seconds away from being that person that's needing something from you. You know, the more you give without receiving, the quicker you are to be on the flip side of the situation. And sometimes you need to ask yourself, if I was on the other side of the situation, where would my help come from? Like, if I'm supplying all the needs for everybody, where would my help come from? Where would my resources come from? And if you sit here like having a hard time answering that question, then you might need to rethink some of the things that you're connected to and some of the people you're connected to and why they're still connected to you. Is it because you benefit them in a way? Is it because of the currency? Oh my gosh. Okay, I would get into that, but there was a theory I had about our currency in terms of relationships. And I wrote them in a note somewhere too, but that's somewhere else. I'll talk about that on another video. Anyway, just remember to evaluate before you decide to start sewing into each and everything that you're exposed to. Just think about it for a minute. Just think. It is okay to preserve yourself. It's if you're having a hard time thinking that that's okay to think for yourself, think about it in terms of whenever you get on an airplane. And I know you've heard this analogy plenty of times, but I like to use it because it just hits the point, hits home. When you're on the plane, they give you the speech about all the safety, put your seatbelt on, we need your seat up, all that good stuff. And then what do they tell you? If for some reason, in the event of an emergency, you know, this lovely contraption will fall down before you. Before you try to assist someone else, make sure that you have placed the mask firmly on your face first. It's a matter of survival sometimes. Our replenishment is a matter of survival. Hey, Miss Lady, thank you for joining me. I'm going to do a quick recap for you. Miss Carissa, thank you so much. We're talking about the last in the series. Just to go over it really quickly, we did recoup, regroup, refresh, refocus, and we are in the process right now of talking about, we are talking about replenishing and talking about the importance of self-preservation, the importance of self-care. It is not a bad word. It is not a bad thing to put your mask on first. I was just talking about the analogy of the plane and the speech they give you for safety, and how when the mask comes down, they always tell you, I've never heard a speech that didn't say, put the other person's mask on first. They say, put your mask on first before you try to assist someone else. We are no good to anybody else if we are not replenished, if we are not filled with all the things that we need to be filled with, if we keep giving our energy away, if we keep giving our power away without it being replenished. So that's the challenge, is to find new ways in this year to replenish yourself, whether that's you just get some you time, you get away, you do an activity that's different, something that you've always wanted to do for yourself and you never have. It doesn't have to cost a whole lot of money. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but just something that is of value to you, something that gives you joy, something that you find fulfillment in, whether it's once a month, whether you can do it every 2 weeks, or whatever. You figure out what works for you and find some way to replenish yourself. Find people who have no problem sewing into your life via encouragement or just listening even. Replenishment could just mean you need to vent and having that one-way communication where you know you're being heard. Even if they don't have the answer to the question, there might not even be a question. It might just be that I just need to get this off my chest. I'm not even trying to find a solution. I just need to get it out of my system and put it out there in the universe. Just to have an ear that's willing to listen, that's part of the process of replenishment as well. Just having people where you can balance and leverage reciprocity in your favor. One of the other things I was going to talk about in this is, of all the assignments you may have, being a savior is not one of them. Again, I'll say that one again. Of all the assignments you may have, of all the hats you may wear, of all the tasks you may be responsible for, being a savior is not one of them. if we really think about it, we can't save anybody. We can suggest, we can encourage, we can coach, we can teach, we can try to persuade, we can try to compel, but we cannot save anybody from anything. And we definitely can't save someone from themselves. So let's take that hat off. Like, don't even buy that hat. Like, that's not your hat. There's a perfectly great person that's the savior that's capable of all of that. So you don't have to worry about it. You got it. And so just remember to make replenishment and self-preservation something you practice all the year through. I said on a previous note that this series wasn't just about it being the beginning of the year and we're starting over and we want to do new things. This series can be referenced at any point in time you find yourself either in a rut or you just need to kickstart a change or another level or another dimension of your growth. Replenishment is one of those things you can do anytime all year long. It's not something that's like, oh, I think I'll just do this just because it's new. No, that's something you need to keep in your toolbox. The ability to find ways to refresh, renew yourself. You've got to sow back into yourself. So if there are any questions or anything, Miss Dr. Samuel, if you have anything, that was really just about it. I will be posting this on YouTube. A little bit of it. I'm not going to really edit it. I'm just going to kind of shorten it a little bit. And then this will also be up in its entirety on, help me find a time to replenish. Yes. Now, that's where the choices you make and the priorities come in. Because there are some times it's going to seem like a hard choice to make, especially as parents and as spouses and all these lovely people we've been blessed with in our lives to care for and take care of. There are times where we might have to sneak it in, but it's imperative that you choose yourself. Lettucey has the lyrics. She says, I choose, what is it in the song? I choose me, something about I choose me, basically. So yeah, those are times where we can figure out ways, whether it's like, oh, on the way home from work, I'm gonna take the long way home. Or, you know what, I'm going to do breakfast with me, take a different route or drop the kids somewhere early or something, even little simple, like I said, little simple, start off with simple ways. It doesn't have to be something big and major to where it just tears up, the whole schedule and everybody, but simple, just start small and gradually build. Even if it's nothing, then just getting a coloring book and you're like, okay, let me just sit down and color with my headphones on and a set list or something, just simple stuff. And then again, surround yourself with people who are, whether it's laughter that they bring or a sense of humor or something stimulating to where it's like, okay, I can woosah, I can exhale. So that is going to do it for me tonight. I'm going to, again, post this on YouTube. It'll be up here for the next 24 hours. And I look forward to meeting you back here. We'll be starting something totally different, which I'm still working on for next week. We'll start over again. So thank you so much, Miss Carissa, for joining me. I appreciate you. And again, click your notifications to where you'll see when I'm on, and then because I try not to bother people, so I don't post a whole lot. I don't post my dog walking and all that stuff. I don't have a dog, so that's why. But anyway, if I did, I wouldn't post it. Thank you, and you have a great night, and we'll see you next week. If I can turn it off. Hello. There we go.